Well, it's April. That means it's my birthday, and it also means I got my tax return. It also means I bought a whole lot of books. Hello and welcome to Creatively Torn, a channel where I mostly talk about books, but sometimes don't. This one I'm going to be talking about lots of books. This is a book haul for generally the month of April. Some of them I may have bought in March, and some I actually bought a few months ago, but I forgot to ever mention. So like I said, my birthday is this month, and also I got my tax return back recently. So I decided to splurge a little bit, and I bought a good number of books. So I'm going to go through those now. This is probably the biggest book haul that I've done so far. This might also be my last one for a while, just because these videos don't perform too well in relation to my other videos, which, whatever. Also, there's just not much for me to say about each book. If I haven't read it yet, I don't know what it's about, so I don't think it's all that entertaining. But, we'll see. Anyways, that's enough of that nonsense. Let's get into the books. First, I'm going to go into digital. I did buy a few ebooks in the past couple of months. The first one is A Touch of Light by Tiago Abdallah, which is some kind of a fantasy series. This is the first book. I didn't look at the series name. I know I've heard it before. But I think this book was for free on Kindle, or maybe for a very cheap price one day, and I decided to download it, as I have heard a lot of good things about it, so I'll be getting to that at some point. Also related to that is the book called We Are the Dead by Max Shackle, which is part of the Last War trilogy, which is another fantasy series that has been gaining traction lately. I've heard lots of really good things about. So I bought the first book digitally a few weeks ago. I also will be getting to that at some point. I don't know when. And lastly is another fantasy ebook. This one I got for free from the author's website. This is The Fall by Cahill. This is one that you can download for free by signing up to his mailing list. I think it's a prequel to his actual series, so it's a novella. So I decided to give that a download. I think that does it for digital toes. Not many digital toes this month. That's all for digital though, so let's get into the physical books. First up is the one that I just started to read. This is The Wavy by Philip Chase. Recently self-published fantasy book. Book 1 of 3 in the series. I just started it last night, so that gives you an indication of when I recorded this video, maybe. I'm quite enjoying it so far. It's very well written. It's got a very immersive world and believable characters and really good dialogue and all that kind of stuff. It's really good so far. So, next up is a used copy of To Kill a Mockingbird. I bought a few books off of thrift. Can't talk. I bought a few things from Thrift Books a few weeks ago. This is one of them because I didn't have a copy of this book, and I kind of wanted one. It's kind of used and it's a mass market, but it'll get me by until I can find a nicer version. This is a new one that I bought. This is the Traveling Cat Chronicles by Hiro Arakawa, and translated into English by Philip Gabriel. At least I hope it's English. Yeah. This one I've heard a few things about. It's about cats, so wanted to check it out. And the hardcover was on Amazon for a very good price, so I added that to my list, to my cart, to my whatever. Next up is one that I bought from the library used bookshelf. This is Walden by Henry David Thoreau. I don't know what this is about, to be honest. I've never read it. I've heard about it. I want to give it a read sometime. I don't know, I saw it on the shelf, but I wanted to get it, so for like 50 cents, it's hard to pass up, so. This one is another one I bought from Thrift Books. This one, kind of gross. It says 1984 by George Orwell. This cover, in this version is awful. I hate it. So on Thrift Books, you don't always get the version that you looked at on the website, which is kind of annoying. Which is why I ended up with this monstrosity instead of something better. But it's from the 1940s, I think. And it's in fairly good shape for being that old, so I guess that's a good thing. I do want to get a nicer copy of this at some point, which I'll have to buy new as opposed to being used, I think. This one is from a different source. So this is Fight Club. I got this from a little free library. Traded in a couple of things for it. Not the edition I really wanted, as it's a movie tie-in version. But I do want to get a copy of this because I need to reread it. I read it for the first time in college, but I didn't really read it. I read like half of it. So I do want to give it another chance at some point. Next up is a book called Silence by Shusaku Endo. It's about something about a missionary in Japan. I've heard about this somewhere a few years ago. I immediately thought it sounded really cool, so I've been eyeing it ever since, and I finally decided to take the plunge and buy it. It was very cheap from Thrift Books, so this is the version that I saw that they showed on the listing, so that's nice. I'm not sure when I'll read this, but I do want to give it a chance very soon. Speaking of books I want to read very soon, this is Ernest Hemingway, The Sun Also Rises. I've only read The Old Man and the Sea by Hemingway so far. I really, really liked it. That was only like 70 pages, so I do want to read something longer by him. And the first one I'm going to read is A Farewell to Arms, which I don't have yet. But I did see this one for a very good price, so I picked this one up. What's it about? Something about World War I. That's all I read. I'll have to find out more when I read it. Here's one that, Here's one that I have had on the list for quite a few years now. This is Darkly Dreaming Dexter. This is the book that the TV series is based off of. If you don't know what Dexter is about by now, I can't really help you. I did really enjoy the series, so I did want to try the book at some point. So here we are. Now I can do that. Next up, this is a book, a kid's book called A Taste of Blackberries. This is one that I read when I was a kid, during a very poignant time in my life. It's about two friends, and one of them gets stung by a bee and dies. And so the rest of the book is just the other kid kind of grieving that loss for the first time in his life. I read this when I was a kid, and I really enjoyed it. It really resonated with me. So I've been looking for a copy for a while now. And it's kind of hard to do since it's not in print anymore. It's not in the library, at least not in my library. So I did finally find a copy online, so I decided to buy it. And it came without a dust jacket, which I was a little bit worried about. But as you can see, it looks pretty nice. It's got a nice little illustration on the front. It's got the name on the spine, so I was thinking about creating my own dust jacket for it. But I don't have to do that now, so that's a win. Got a couple of beefy books up next. This one is The Blackest Art by Brian Lee Durfee. This is book 2 of the 5 Warrior Angels trilogy. Picked up the first one sometime last year. want to get to this series. If not later this year, then early 2024. That's next year, right? Yeah. So I have the first two now. I'll just need to pick up the last one. Very nice looking book, though. I said this about the first one, but the cover is really nice. I like the inside. The printing is really well done. I like the fonts. I think there's a map in here. Maybe not. Yeah, the typesetting is really well done. It's a really nice looking book for a trade paperback. And here's another one that I've been collecting for a series. This is Ashes of Man, the 5th Sun Eater book. The last one to be released at this point. So I have a complete collection, finally. 3 mass markets and 2 hardcovers. What are you gonna do? Book 5. It says so on the cover. I'm not gonna talk too much about this because I have mentioned it just about every other book haul that I made so far. So suffice it to say, I have them all now, except for the novellas, which I'll have to buy digitally, I think, which I might do soon. This one is a fiction, kind of a crime novel, Mystic River by Dennis Lehane. Dennis Lehane. This was made into a movie. One that actually I watched it. I bought it when I was in high school. I don't know why. I wasn't really into that kind of movie when I was growing up. I think I thought it was going to be something a little more supernatural than it was. But obviously it's not. It's still a really good movie though. I really enjoyed it. Want to watch it again, but I'm probably going to read the book first since I have it now. Next up is an entire series, which I bought in a bundle. This is The Faithful and the Fallen by John Gwynne. So, book 1, Malice. There's Wrath. And Ruin. And Valor. So that's all 4 books in that series. We'll be starting this in June. For a read-along, so I'll be getting those ones marked up very soon. Just a few books left here. This one is a Stephen King book that came without a dust jacket. I bought a few of these at the used library shelf without the dust jackets because they weren't ones that I really needed nice copies of, at least not yet. So this first one is The Dead Zone, which I haven't read yet, but I will have to give it a try here soon. Here's another one that is Cujo, obviously without the dust jacket again, so if I do like either of these, I might try for a nicer version, because these are the old Viking hardcovers, but we'll see. And then the last one is yet another series. This is book 2 in Red Rising, Golden Sun. I'll be starting this within the next week or so. So I do really want to get caught up with this series. I heard starting with book 2, this one, it really takes a noticeable step forward. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes. So I'm really excited to get to that, along with pretty much almost every one of these other books. So, anyways, that is it for me. That was my humongous book haul, at least by my standards. So I hope this wasn't too painful for you. Hope you enjoyed it. Anyways, thank you for enduring this video once again. If you want to follow me on the social medias, they're in the description. So thank you for watching, and